It's really great to be out and about, and we've got a variety of bits and pieces to look at here. Agriculture, it's hardly agriculture, but it's a starting point. And it's my reminder currently, it's my screen on my phone, and it tells me that if we keep working at things which we might not have been good at, we actually have a decent chance of succeeding in lots of different ways. And it kind of leads us in to say, this is what I do, this is me, and it's the summary of what I do within my work. And that's very, very important. Within our agriculture, we are a risk industry. We work with different bits and pieces, and our aim is to go home at the end of the day with these things still doing the same thing that they did when I came into work in the morning. So where do we go? What is agriculture? And having been at the Highland Show this summer, then some of the thing was that some of us don't know what agriculture is. This is current information. This is from the information that came out literally in the past week or so. We are thriving. 30 years ago, we were a couple of guys with a pond in their back garden, realistically. Whereas now, we've recently set up or you look at a generic thing then, setting up a site could cost you about $3.5 million, and then potentially you're not going to get a return for the next 18 months. And you've got all the investment going for that. We have Scottish whisky up there as the export, and then next is Scottish salmon. And then somewhere hundreds of millions below that is all the other bits and pieces. We are thriving. We are a great business within Scotland as an industry. So this is one of our teams. This is our team up in Summer Isles, up in the far northwest. And it's a nice sunny day. It's always sunny in agriculture. Collection, mixture of people. This is great, and purely by coincidence, the manager is Sarah, who's on this end at the back. She's the only girl in the picture. So it's not a guy-driven industry. It might seem it at times, but there's more and more mixture gender coming through, which is brilliant. Sarah, I first met Sarah covered head to foot in waterproofs, and there was this much of us peeking out of a set of waterproofs. She was just a fish farmer. She had no gender whatsoever at that time, and she was brilliant. She was a trainee, and that was about 4 years ago, and now she's the manager of her site. And this is part of their work environment. So their photo was on the barge, which is just peeking in on the right. The left-hand side is part of their kit that they use. The guys come in to work with us, and from zero to then driving, being in charge of equipment like this. This boat on the left is probably worth somewhere between £600,000 and £700,000. So where does that put us? You can walk into our industry tomorrow as a job to start. This would be just, yes, we want you in, we will give you the training, etc., etc., and the industry as a whole will look after you and try to see where we go. At times we struggle for employees. It's incredible. And potentially it's because people don't know we exist. It's probably the easy one. It's my timekeeping. We live in this risk business. This will take my arm off if I'm not careful. This is hydraulically driven. There's a lot of you work in and around the land-based industries with different pieces of kit. It is potentially a hazard. So we need a training structure. Within Scottish Sea Farms, then our training structure is quite awesome, actually. I am part of the training team and go out and deliver across our company. Our company extends from Shetland, Orkney, and down the west coast. We farm salmon. This is what we do. Fundamentally, we grow salmon. And a huge amount of it, as shown, is then exported around the world. France has just become one of the major areas of our exports. They disappear off to Japan, they disappear off to America. They can be on a table in Japan 24 hours after coming out of a cage. This is Cameron. Cameron came to us 16-year-old out of school. We work with the under 18s, but we're just a little bit careful because there's some things they're not allowed to touch, let alone operate and things. And Cameron thrived. Cameron is now working for one of our competitors because he was poached from us. But he's brilliant. He went through to trainee manager in no time at all. This, very briefly, there's a couple of slides here to show a couple of different bits and pieces. I think these might be they're within the last couple of months. This shows what people will earn. So you literally walk in and away you go. Within the first 6 months, our training budget generally is around about £3,500 to £5,000 per person. And that's what we're working to, and then in the next 18 months or so, then we take it up a wee bit further. And then there's a slightly different one. Modern apprentice engineer. Stuart, who's in that role, is fantastic. He's amazing. He's getting out around all different sites and working within our industry. This is Kira. Kira works on Shetland. I first met Kira when she was fairly fresh from university with a degree in psychology. She comes from Shetland. There is a great pull for them to go back home. It's amazing. I taught 3 of them to drive boats, and I had a MA in physics in the boat with me. I had Kira with her degree in psychology, and I had another PhD. But they were all from Shetland and going home. And this is the boat that Kira was driving shortly after, within probably about 9 months of starting work with us. This actually is Kira's dad, as it happens, just by coincidence. We're not all out and about. We're not all out on the farms doing different bits and pieces. Colin is actually driving the camera screens. This is looking at how we feed the fish, how much feed is going into each cage, etc., etc. And then it gets beyond my technical ability because it's not my corner of the world. So back to training. We work with this type of machinery, and I just thought it was relevant within what we're trying to look at, that we do use these different bits and pieces. It is a complete mixture of different things. So that's where we go. We look after our guys, we have our different bits and pieces. We give them a variety of training, work with dummies out in the real world, look after our guys. This is Ailsa, not currently in agriculture, but out experiencing that we do go out on not sunny days.